Hello and welcome in. I am Tammy Mashaberti, best-selling author of the book The Universe is Talking to You. Tap into signs and synchronicity to reveal magical moments every day. And I teach people, my cat is dancing around me. I teach people how to tap into what I call the divine higher help line that is available to us all. And I am here today to specifically talk to you about one of the ways that I find our loved ones communicate with us sort of universally. So I'm excited to talk about this. And I have to just say that I am teaching a live class at 1 p.m. Eastern today, which is in about an hour, that is free as part of the Living an Elevated Existence Summit. If you go to elevatedexistencesummit.com, I'll make sure that the link is put into the Facebook and the YouTube. And on Instagram, it's actually in my bio. But I'm teaching a free class on how to ask for and get answers from the universe and your loved ones on the other side. And that is happening in an hour Eastern time. The replay will be available throughout. So if you sign up, if you're listening to this later, no problem. You can still sign up and get access to that replay as long as the summit is going on. And actually, if you've missed most of the summit, which has been going on for a while, this weekend I'm going to be opening up all of the replays from the month of January. So you'll be able to catch up on all of those interviews. So that's elevatedexistencesummit.com. And that's how you get into that for free. And it is a lot of fun, but I'll be teaching that class in about an hour. Now, having said that, I want to talk to you about one of the ways that I find universally our loved ones will use to get through to us, to let us know they're around, to communicate to us, to say, hey, it's me, right? And that's their goal. They want to wake you up from the midst of all the chaos, from the midst of your day-to-day stuff, from all of the things that are going on around you. They want to interrupt you so that you notice them. And that's why I always say, and I'll be talking about this later in that free class, they use something that relates to them. They will use something that you'll go, oh, and it will make you think of them. So one of the things I find that they use often, and that I want you to really take in as a sign from now on, is, and my mother uses this all the time, and she just used it yesterday, twice in one day, which is why I said I have to come on and talk about this. They will use their name. They will use their name because think about it. What else would make you stop and think of them more than their name, right? So my mother's name was Marianne, and she uses this name all the time. So I always tell you, if you're listening to TV and you hear their name, if you're out somewhere and you hear their name and it comes up in conversations, if you read their name somewhere, if you're online and the name pops up, please know that they are around you. Please just know they're saying hi. Oftentimes, my mother will use it during periods of my life where she wants me to know she's around me, she sees what's going on, she's supporting me, whatever it might be. And so, here's the cat. And so, she's done it so many times. I'll never forget one time I was in a doctor's office. This was years ago. I was going to, with my father, I was in, he was getting an MRI because he had for his sinuses. And he had gone gone in, I think. And I was sitting there. I remember I was sitting there on my laptop, sort of working while I was waiting for him to get this done. Because, MRI, sometimes they take like 45 minutes, whatever. And I'm sitting there, and the person who comes out and calls people by name to come in would come out, and they would be like, Susan, Jeffrey, George, whatever, right? Very, sort of just calling the name, and I'm working. All of a sudden, the woman comes out, and she yells to the point that it startled me, and I looked up, Marianne? And I was like, what is she yelling for? And then it hit me that was my mother's name. And I was like, and I knew right away at that point, oh, this is going to be fine. They're not going to find anything bad, right? There's not going to be anything crazy that they're going to find from this. And my mother wanted to not only use her name, but jolt me out of it, right? So that's just one example. Another time I remember I was in the ER with my aunt. She had had surgery and then she was having issues. And so we went to the emergency room to get her checked. And we were sitting in the emergency room talking, and the TV above my head was on. I couldn't see the TV, but it was like where I was sitting on the chair was above my head. And we were talking, and I think like a game show was on or something. I don't even remember. And again, I heard Marianne, and I looked at my aunt. I go, did you just hear that? I said, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. She's like, what are you talking about? I go, that was just my mother's name. She's here. She's letting you know you're good. Like, everything is good. And everything was fine. So yesterday, right now I'm actually, and I call on my mother because I'm working on a new book. And so my first book, The Universe is Talking to You, I actually dedicated to my mother. And the reason I dedicated it to my mother is because I feel like it was her who really opened me up to signs, even before she died. But then once she died, man, everything was cracked open. And so I'm working on a new book now that will be out probably at some point at this time next year. And I'm juggling a million things. I talked about my weekly spirit boost last week, all of the things that I do to kind of keep myself leveled and clear out stress or overwhelm, because I'm juggling a lot of things. Like I just told you, I'm doing this 3-month summit, and I'm writing this book at the same time, and I have all of these sort of, regular day-to-day things of running a business, right? So I have a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And I call on her, and I know she's with me writing this book because she was with me writing the last one. So having said all that, I'm in the dentist office to go get a cleaning yesterday, right? Just getting my teeth cleaned, routine, nothing crazy. And I'm sitting in the dentist office and I'm kind of scrolling on my phone or whatever, waiting for them to call me in for the cleaning. And again, somebody comes out, Marianne, and the woman gets up and goes in. And I just smiled and I said, oh, hi, Mom. I know you're here. I know you see everything I got going on here. I know you're supporting me. Like, thank you. And then it hit me yesterday. I said, oh, I have to bring this up again too, because I've talked about this before. But I thought I have to bring this up again on my weekly spirit boost to let people know to start paying attention to your loved one's name. So that was yesterday in the dentist office. I then come home. I schedule this weekly spirit boost online so everybody knows, it goes up, the picture goes up of what I'm going to be talking about, because I'm here live every Thursday at noon. And so I'm sitting at my desk and I'm working. And I had a video. I was listening to something while I was working on this particular thing. I wasn't writing the book, obviously. I was listening to something sort of while I was doing some of these other tasks. And in listening to this video, I hear her name again. Somebody says, oh, well, my friend Marianne, da, 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 da. And I stopped and looked up and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. You're around me and I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow. And thank you for the second sign. Thank you for the second mention of your name. So it's so incredible to me. And like I said, I'm just giving you some examples from my life, but I want you to know that if you hear your loved one's name, it is a sure sign that they are around you. Because what better way to interrupt your pattern, interrupt the work you're doing, interrupt the cleaning, interrupt the rushing from one appointment to the next or one meeting to the next, or let you know they're around you when you're in a doctor's office or getting a test done, right? What other way to interrupt all of that drama going on, all of that chaos, all of the day-to-day insanity that we juggle, than to use their name? It will interrupt you every time, and that's what they're trying to do. That's why our loved ones, when they try to communicate with us, will use something that is connected to them. I always say their name, their birth date, something that meant something to the two of you, a particular sign that makes you think of them. They are trying to get you to think of them because that's how they can let you know they're around. If you think of them, then they know they've gotten through. But a lot of times people will think of them and then not make the connection specifically that they are around. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. What if your loved one's name is not common? Somebody was asking on Instagram. That's even more so if you hear it, is even more so. But I promise you, if you hear what I'm saying is it's not the only way they communicate with you. If you hear their name, it's definitely a way they're communicating with you. But they will use things that will remind you of them. So they will use my mother uses her birth date all the time. They will use I've had friends who, particular Disney characters connect them to their loved one. And whenever they see that character, especially out of the blue, in a space that it would not normally be, or all of a sudden in their Facebook feed, they know that loved one is around. So the name is only one particular way. But I promise you, I've had so many people, and we're going to be doing an exercise coming up in that free class that I'm going to be teaching at 1 that I call assign a sign, where you're actually going to assign a sign to a loved one. And I've had so many people specifically pick difficult things, like somebody picked the theme from Cats. I'll never forget. I don't know if they're around here listening to this or not, but I think it was the theme song from Cats they wanted to hear. Now, that is not something that you would normally hear in your day-to-day work. You don't normally put on the radio and hear something. And I don't remember exactly how it happened, but they specifically said this is going to be, let me just do a pick, like a hard one. And they got the sign. So do not underestimate, no matter how much you think this is not common or this is going to be difficult, or how in the world is this going to come up? They can do it. They are amazing when it comes to trying to get through to you. So don't discount that. I just have to say that, and I'm glad I saw that comment come up while I was here. So yes. So that's really the biggest thing I want you to know is, if you're somebody who is not getting signs, or even if you are somebody that's getting signs, please don't discount the loved one's name or a loved one's birth date or something that has to do with it. And I always say, if you recognize a sign on the first time, if you recognize your loved one's name, if you recognize the birth date, if you recognize that Disney character, whatever it might be, and it makes you think of them, and you say to yourself, oh man, I wonder if that means they're around me, or oh gosh, I hope, that would be cool if they were trying to get in touch with. If you get the sign, oh my Lord, they will use it again and again and again, because now they've gotten through. It's like a celebration. It's like, oh man, now they got they got through. Like, I'm around them all the time and I see what they're going through, and I just want them to know that I'm there. And they got it. Oh, I'm using that again because they got it. Now it's like, now it's our code, right? Now it's our sign. Now it's our situation. So pay attention, and the ones that make you think of your loved one, and you say, okay, I'm going to accept that sign. Or if you question it, you just ask for another one. Pay attention, because that will be used again and again, which is why my mother uses it. This was years ago that I'm talking about, when her name came up when I was in the MRI or the ER or whatever, years ago. So now to yesterday, she used it twice in one day. And I believe, number one, she wanted me to know she was around, and knowing all of the things that I was juggling. Because to be honest with you, I almost canceled that cleaning appointment, because I was like, I have too much going on. How can I, in the middle of the day, it was like a 10 a.m. appointment. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, should I just reschedule it, because I have so much going on this week? And I was like, just get it over with. Then you're good for 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, Tammy, just go, just do it, get it over with. And then you're good for 6 months. And so I did it. And I know that she was around me to say, like, I see everything going on. I'm around you. Also, I think she wanted me to probably come on here and tell this story. And then, interestingly enough, she did it 2 times in one day to really drive home what, the fact that she was around me, and the fact that I was going to come on here and talk about this. So I just laughed when I heard the name the second time. I was like, I get it. Like, thank you. I'm so glad, thank you for being around me. Thank you for letting me know you're around me, and all of that. And my mother's been passed on for, oh my God, let me think, 21 years, I think, at this point now. She's still around. It doesn't matter. They're all still around you. It does not matter. So that's what I really wanted to come on here to talk about today, because as you're going into the weekend, I want you to think about this. I want you to pay attention, and I want you to promise me that when you hear your loved one's name specifically, you will take it as a sign. just take it as a sign that they're around you and that they know what's going on in your life at that moment and that they're supporting you from the other side and that they're loving you from the other side and that they are still with you, just not physically. They are still with you. Their spirit is still with you. The body is the only thing that has left. So that's really what I wanted to come on here and say before I go live for my free class. And again, if you go to elevatedexistencesummit.com, you can sign up. The summit is happening now through April. I am teaching 2 classes during the summit. This is my first one, and it's completely free to listen. And again, if you're listening to this at a later date, as long as it is before April, you will still be able to get my interview. Or not my interview, my class. I've been doing interviews for the summit, but mine is actually just a class that I'm teaching. And so you can also get access to oracle card readings that I've been doing. I've been doing group oracle card readings throughout the summit. I'll be doing another one next Friday, but you can also watch the replay of my other one that I did last Friday. So that's available also. And the summit is awesome, and it just has it's all about mind, body healing, intuition, and manifestation. If you're interested in those things, it's completely free to listen to. There are live healings. There are live guided exercises and meditations. We're going to be doing my assign exercise. I'll be taking your questions today. And it's just an annual event. This is the 10th year that we're doing it, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm going to go prep for that. Again, elevatedexistencesummit.com to get in on that reading. You'll get an email with the page where all of the live interviews and classes are happening, and it will be happening live on that page. It's audio only for this. My oracle card readings are video, and you can get access and listen to that class and hang out and ask questions if you're on live. If you're not on live, you can always get me and on Thursday every week for more questions. And I'm just going to take a few comments before I leave that came in through Facebook. Lily said, I received your book yesterday and I already love it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And I'm working on my next one, so I'm very excited about that. Mary says, my mother's name was Mildred, but she went by Millie. Oh, I had an Aunt Millie. My great nephew did not know mom's name was Mildred. He just had a baby and her name is Millie. When I found out and I told him, he was like so excited that he had a family name. And every time I see this sweet little baby, I think of mom. That's awesome. I had an Aunt Millie. That's so funny. Aura is saying, my mom's name is Teddy, and I saw the name Teddy many times on chocolates and products all of December 2022. And my mom's birthday is December 2022. That's awesome. Or December 22nd. Sorry. Yes. Let me see. Lily, does your mom help with the oracle cards? I'm sure she's around me when I'm doing readings. I'm sure she's around me. I truly believe when I do those oracle, and if you've never seen me do an oracle card reading, it's not like I don't read oracle cards, I guess, in a typical way. There's a lot of things I do differently, but specifically, I tend to say, here's what the universe is trying to say to you. And then I go into a little bit more information, like about teaching and about changes that you can make and about how it affects you. And so when I do it, everybody else on the call sort of learns and gets information from it also. And I don't know anything before I shuffle these oracle cards and start talking, right? I know that information is coming through me. So I'm sure that she's around me for that, as well as my own angels and guides and my teaching guides and all of that. 100%. I believe that. And you can ask for help from your loved ones, because even if they specifically can't, sometimes they can't intercede, or maybe they're not a guide for you. They are supporting you. They can help you. They can get other higher helpers to work with you. So you can certainly ask for their support, for their love, and for them just letting you know that they're around you. To me, just knowing that my mother is around me right now and went through all of that to get me to know it is amazing. And it's such a comfort, and it's such a yes, my mother is with me, and I know she's helping me write this book, and I know she's around me, and I know she's supporting me, and I know she sees everything, right? She sees everything that I'm doing. She's glad I went to that dentist appointment and didn't cancel it despite everything I had going on. So that's what I think, that's what I just know that they're supporting us. And, sometimes your loved one who has passed on is one of your guides. Sometimes they're just there supporting you and your guides are doing more of the guiding work, right? But, it sort of depends. Um, so that's basically what I wanted to come on here and talk about. So if you want more about signs and synchronicities, that live class is happening at 1 p.m. Eastern today. And again, the replay will be available after it. All replays through January are going to be open throughout the weekend. ElevatedExistenceSummit.com. I'll put the link in Instagram. Just go in my bio. On YouTube and Facebook. I can't remember if I put the link. I don't think I did, but I will put the link in after this so that you can join and participate in that class, listen to the class. We're going to be talking about the two-way communication. So not just signs that are coming in, but how you can ask for the universe to help you and how you can best get those answers. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to go prep for that class. Oh, let me just grab, I'm seeing other comments come in on Facebook. Oh, John, I'm so glad you're reading my book. You ask for signs and get them. Feathers, dimes, perfume. Yes, they will use smells that remind you of loved ones. It is such a great comfort to me. That's what it is, you guys. It's such a comfort just to know that they're around you, that they see everything that's going on, that life truly goes on, that they actually have not left you. I can't imagine going through my life without that knowing. I can't imagine it. I actually cannot imagine how I would have made it through the past 21 years without my mother, who passed when I was only 22. I can't imagine, or maybe is it 22 years? My God, how old am I now? It's been long. I think it's been even longer than 21 years. 22 years, I think. It'll be 23. I can't imagine how I would have gotten through it without the signs and without the knowing. And that is why I wrote The Universe is Talking to You. And that is why I teach what I teach, is because I can't imagine someone not having that. So thank you for that comment, John, because that's the perfect thing to say. Is it is a comfort. It is a huge, huge comfort. So I'm going to go prep for my class. Thank you all for being here with me and for your comments and your participation. You guys are the best. Please like this video if you are enjoying it, to help get it out into the world. If you're not already on my Facebook page or YouTube page, subscribe and like the page. And I will be back here next Thursday for another weekly Spirit Boost on live in about a half an hour for my free class. Sending you all love. Have a wonderful weekend. Listen for your loved one's name or anything that reminds you of them, and have an elevated weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.